Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Stihl MS192T top handle chainsaw. The customer complaint is that it just doesn't quite have it anymore. Seems a little bit boggy, losing a little something on the top, a little weak in the cut. This primer bulb seems a little bit slow. That might be normal, but that right there looks kind of slow to me. And that usually indicates a plugged fuel filter or a restriction in the carb, usually the little micro screen inside there. Alright, it was subtle, but if you were paying attention, you could tell that wide open, it just wasn't going really good there. One thing we could look at maybe is the spark arrestor screen. It didn't sound like it was plugged up, but let's check that one off the list, right? Single screw to back that out. I mean, this screen is basically clean. There's just a little bit of carbon in there, but not enough that I'm even going to make any changes. We'll put the screen and the screw back in, and then we're going to take a look inside the cylinder, see what that looks like in there. As I take this air filter off, I notice that that's probably not the reason why we have a low power situation. It's not a brand new filter, but it's not plugged up. You know, they cram a lot of stuff in a small package on these things, and they're just wonderful to work on. But I enjoy a challenge, so let's just keep moving forward. Pulling the spark plug boot off of here, that in itself can be a challenge. But these, I guess they're called, are these hose pliers? I don't know what they are. Curved jaw and needle nose. Anyway, they work really good for pulling spark plug boots off. There you go, that little saw's fighting me again. Can't even use a scrunch on it. Let's pull the spark plug out and see what we got. Well, by golly, that looks like a brand new spark plug. So the owner already tried fixing this saw. I'm going to look inside the cylinder and confirm that it's clean and shiny. I couldn't get a good picture for you, so we just moved on past that. Reinstalled the new spark plug. Tighten it down. Fight the thing a little bit. There it is. So what do you think we're going to do next? That's right, we're going to pull the carb. It's a lot of stuff in a small space, and it can be a little intimidating when you first look at it, but it's really pretty easy to get these apart. I mean, there's a lot harder carburetors to work on. I'm thinking Husqvarna 338 right off the top of my head. So there's a little plate, and that's got to be popped out of place. It's kind of like the air filter holder plate. And there's your carb, right? No big deal. Well, the first thing you want to do is remove the choke lever. And if you hadn't already removed the fuel from the tank, now would be a good time to do that, because once those lines come off of there, they're going to want to squirt. So now we just need to pry the carburetor up out of place. Just getting them fuel lines out of the way. Getting that second line off of there. I just like poking at it with a sharp screwdriver, I guess. There we go. Carburetor popped up a little bit. Throttle linkage is still hooked up. But once we clear the studs, we can roll that carburetor right out of the linkage. Leave the linkage in place. I want to take a look down the intake boot. Look for any signs of cracks. You know, an air leak right there would explain our bog as well. We're going to get inside this carburetor and see what there is to see. That is our pump, our fuel pump. And our micro screen was on that side. There was no debris in the screen. And under this cover is going to be our metering diaphragm. And while it's not completely stiff, it is not as pliable as it should be. And that certainly could explain our problem. Now, what you didn't see in the video here was that this carburetor got put in the ultrasonic cleaner. You know, we removed the high and low speed jets, cleaned it all out, put a new carb kit in it, and now we're reinstalling it in the saw. So we hooked up our throttle linkage, slid the carburetor over the studs, and now we're going to try and manipulate those fuel lines back onto the carburetor. There's a boot on this side of the carburetor that your adjustment screwdriver would pass through to get to the carburetor. And I'm just getting that boot all lined up so that it actually lines up with the adjustment screws. And so our choke lever is keyed. You got to look inside the end of the lever and line it up with the choke shaft. And then the air filter plate's going to go on. And then we're going to tighten up our two nuts that hold the air filter plate down. 8mm sized nut. I'm just confirming that I can get the screwdriver through that bushing and to the adjustment screws. And it looks like that's all good to go. And we're going to dump some fuel in this thing, see if it'll start. Maybe make a couple of initial carburetor adjustments before we bar it up and take it outside for final adjustment. So that's all I got for you on the Stihl MS192T top panel chainsaw that was a little low on power. Thanks for watching. Later.